this matchup, like the Kingsbane Rogue Mirror, like what's the big important thing to focus on, and just a lot of the small tips on like how to play Kingsbane Rogue really opens my eyes to how deep that deck really has in terms of its lines of play. But we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
We're going to Magicmike versus Crane. Game number 1, Druid versus, is he the Spell Hunter?
This is the Spell Hunter. This is the not a single minion in the deck hunter. I think that's more catchy.
Yeah.
That really flows off the tongue.
The weapons, secrets, and hero cards hunter.
Without any single minion.
Yeah.
Definitely was mulliganing for that Spellstone. It's one of the most important cards in this matchup. One of the most important cards in like the hunter archetype in general, but oh, Crane. Looking like he just went to the garden and picked out a bunch of green.
Or coming off the green. He is chilling.
They call him Crane. They call him Crane Green Thumb 333 for a reason.
Yeah. So for Malygos Druid, part of the reason why the Spellstone's really important because they're not very good at dealing with those 3/3 minions early on. But if Crane's able to assemble any kind of defense line, I feel like Magicmike can just fizzle out pretty easily.
Yeah, it's one of the major issues with Spell Hunter is it is one of those decks that can just sort of fizzle. That's not necessarily the secret he was looking for. He definitely wanted something to play to juice the Spellstone. He's got one more turn for it, though.
True. It's just one of those things like, oh, come on, any other secret.
I know, right?
Your deck's
especially
like
with how many secrets you play.
Yeah. Like a third of your deck is secrets. You're just like, come on.
Well, actually, you know, now that we're saying that, this deck doesn't have as many secrets. It does run 2 copies of Secret Plan, but it only actually plays 2 other secrets. 1 freezing, I believe, 1 explosive.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I've seen a lot of variations of Spell Hunter, but yeah, we've seen some of them prioritize having a little bit more consistency as opposed to having like the erratic spray of secrets, especially if you're not playing Subject 9. It makes sense.
And part of the reason for that is because in this Spell Hunter, you don't necessarily have the... I was going to say, you don't necessarily have the same way to proc secrets as Secret Hunter would. So for instance, Snake Trap is not as good in Spell Hunter because sometimes you just don't have a minion on board, especially in the early turns, whereas with Secret Hunter, you would have access to something like Secret Keeper.
What do you think about the interesting play to
Tempo
the Floop instead of actually saving it for anything meaningful? It actually ended up helping the Spell Hunter because it gave him a target for Flanking Strike.
I actually kind of liked it from Crane's perspective. Crane is going to want to play this Florist on 7 as quickly as possible to reduce one of these large dragons. So it becomes awkward if he has the Floop in his hand, because the Floop can become a 0-mana Florist. And if it does, well, then he kind of sets himself behind. Whereas with this play, if he goes for the Florist, he hits something like the Malygos, he can instantly go Malygos Swipe to answer a Spellstone.
I like that. That's pretty clever. And gets rewarded with Malygos and getting the discount.
This is a lot of pressure coming out from Magicmike.
It's a lot of pressure, but Crane also has some pretty powerful swings coming up, too. Huffer.
Ooh.
Now, is it worth tossing in anything into this Dream Petal Florist from the hand? Probably not.
I don't think so.
What are you afraid of at this point? Afraid of, well, you're afraid of the discounted Malygos plus Swipe.
That is pretty terrifying. The
odds
odds of that are really slim.
But the thing is, you can't do anything about that anyway, so you might as well not even worry too much about it, right?
I think what Magicmike should do here is count up his damage, decide whether or not he needs to kill the Florist, because if he can set up lethal with the Wolves while killing the Florist, go ahead and kill the Florist. If not, maybe it's more beneficial to push that 4 damage phase and just kind of assume that...
Well...
actually...
He did have a lethal setup. That's assuming Drew doesn't do anything defensive and gain 0 armor, which is actually exactly what happened.
I know,
Drew
right?
has no ability to defend himself or any armor. So had Magicmike utilized his Hunter's Mark and pushed, and even swung with that extra candle shot attack,
but I think in
he would have been able to actually push for lethal volume.
Yeah, I think in Magicmike's perspective, though, he says even if Crane has Malygos Swipe, he can Hunter's Mark it and then proceed to just potentially just win the game off of that. Without Malygos inside of the, win condition, Malagos Druid really isn't doing anything else. If you play around Spreading Plagues and you don't give them targets, you're good to go a lot of the time, and that's what this Hunter Mark was saved for.
Wow. And you're seeing exactly that. Crane can't afford to wait anymore. Needs as much tempo as possible, but that's why the Hunter's Mark's been waiting. So Magicmike's Gambit paid off. Although, let's see, hold on. 3, 9. He would have had lethal.
If he pushed the 4.
Yeah, if he pushed the 4 with the Huffer instead, he would have had the lethal.
I mean, I think in Magicmike's perspective, though, I think the trading was fine.
Yeah, I think in hindsight, even with hindsight, rather, I think it's perfectly acceptable. Because things seem to look pretty good.
Yeah, especially if there was something like a branching paths here, and the same play was made, well then you can rely on how much damage you'll be able to push over the next couple of turns, especially with Zul'jin as a game ender. Because Zul'jin will summon a whole pack of wolves.
Oh, that's interesting.
I guess fitting it in just in case these wolves die.
That's true, yeah. I was like, you could equip the weapon. Like, yeah, you can't swing with it this turn, but Magicmike says, you know what, I might lose every beast from this point on. And also, what a pickup from Crane. He just picks up every single late game bomb. He has Alexstrasza this turn to heal up. Lich King on the following turn.
I'm not even sure if it's going to be enough, though. This is just so much pressure. Look how much damage is coming out from Magicmike's side.
Right. And Alexstrasza's on cleanup duty.
And if this is something like, oh, I guess Crane knows at this point that it's not a freezing trap, but if freezing trap were to be drawn, that just gets messy. Double natural like Lich King. Whew.
Freezing trap, just coin the Alexstrasza, bro.
Now that's a play.
For anybody that's obviously taking that seriously, you can't coin out something beyond 10 mana. You are capped at 10 mana regardless, so if anything ever costs 11. Have I tried? Yes, very early on in Hearthstone. I tried to interface to 12 mana one time.
Have you tried recently?
No.
Maybe they changed.
I did not try recently, and I certainly did not lose my legend rank because of that. I was certainly not at the final boss at rank 1. I definitely did.
One of my favorite plays that I've seen, just out of like a brain lapse, was one of my friends had a Pyroblast coin Cold Blood for lethal and rogue because he got it from Swashbuckler.
Oh, that's dope.
And it was really cool.
Did he do it in the right order?
He went coin first.
Oh, no.
Then went Pyroblast and wondered why he couldn't play the Cold Blood.
Oh, no. What a disaster. That's terrible. Should not attack into this secret because you not only activate Wandering Monster, you give an extra charge with the Eaglehorn Bow. Magicmike has 2 dead cards in his hand.
Might as well play it.
It's good. It sets up a board state for Zul'jin.
The Zul'jin will come down next turn and will summon, I believe, just, a whole pack of wolves. I mean, there's 2 flanking strikes in the pool. There's 2 spellstones in the pool.
Yep, and an Animal Companion.
Kill command
and
as well.
a Hunter's Mark.
There's a lot.
It's a lot. Crane does have responses, and also Magicmike will replay a couple. Oh, actually, no. He only replays 1 secret, and it's a Wandering Monster.
And if Crane never procs it, then
it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I think tossing in this 3/3 into the 8/8 is perfectly fine for Magicmike, but he chooses to hold on to it just in case he's able to get, I guess, the Leok off of a Zul'jin, so that way he has 1 more attack or minion to attack into.
And maybe it's also that he doesn't want Crane to have the luxury of trying to push one of these 8 attack minions face. Maybe forcing them to... I mean, he can obviously do it next turn and then play the Zul'jin, but maybe he's trying to force, Crane to use it as a value trade.
Yeah, it makes sense too. Like, let's say the Hunter's Mark kills off the Lich King with Zul'jin, and then you have an extra minion to push through.
Exactly.
For damage, yeah. Now Crane picked up Malfurion the Pestilent. And that's a really nice sight for sore eyes, honestly, for Crane. Willing to attack into the Wandering Monster.
It looks like Crane is going to ignore these wolves.
Go face.
And go face.
Whoa, I like it. Got 16 damage.
And even coining out the naturalizes in order to make sure that there's no immediate answer for one of these 8/8s. Oh, Crane. That was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
As a pro player, if I've ever seen one.
It's the right play.
He
actually somehow has found a way to swing this because of Malfurion. Despite having one of the most awkward hands post-Malagos you'll ever see. Now Magicmike may need a little bit of a miracle.
There's a Doom Pact from
Had he-
Crane's side to answer the Wolves if it does clear the board.
Yeah, that's true. I was also thinking about the damage pushed. Opponent would be at 7. And kill command would have finished the game too. I feel like pushing that 4 damage is so important. But again, that's totally reasonable. Like I also was really tempted to trade in that spot.
And also, I think it was kind of weird that Magicmike had played a kill command early just to push a little bit of damage, when if he had held onto that kill command, the Alexstrasza would have had to have come out anyways,
right.
and he
that'd
would have
be
had
lethal
lethal
too.
right here.
Yep, it's a really good point. It's like trying to invest in it early.
Is Zul'jin enough here? Or, oh, Magicmike's going to do something else.
Deadly shot.
Oh, oh boy.
Attack first.
Oh boy.
You can kill command the 1/5. Oh no, you have to kill command the 8/5. Oh boy, did he get us off? Oh, he did. Okay,
It looks like he went for a
did.
guaranteed kill
he
on
went for the
one of them.
Yep, to stay safe.
I like this actually, finding the deadly shot.
Oh wow, he could have killed Alexstrasza. Oh, he attacked with the weapon already. How much damage is 5 plus 8? Or sorry, 5 plus 8.
16.
16. Yeah, 16 damage.
So 2 off, could draw for double Moonfire.
1 Moonfire was used. With one, I guess.
Okay.
Branching pass? No.
No.
Innervate swipe? No.
I know, right? It's actually less damage. It's really less.
One thing for sure is I want to hit face with the Alexstrasza. I think there's just almost no way you can
Oh,
justify
for sure.
trading in this spot. It's all about what you want to do with the remaining mana. And the thing is, you can set up for the ultimate infestation lethal.
Maybe pushing face with the 8/3, using the Death Coil to heal Crane up, and using the hero power to deal 3 damage. That's a potential line of play.
That's happening.
Maybe swiping the 3/2, innervating out the hero power. It's another potential line of play. Maybe just pushing everything and saying Ultimate Infestation is going to end this game next turn.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, well, I like this because it also sets up the Ultimate Infestation to be game winning next turn. Kind of forces out the Zul'jin if they have it.
The Huffer, though.
Wait, is
The Huffer kill
Magicmike
command.
just... Did Magicmike just not play the Zul'jin?
I think he's looking for a charge minion to guarantee lethal. Like, let's say he got Stone Touch Spore and something else. Nope.
I guess, actually, theoretically, Zul'jin could harm himself.
Right,
because
he
it
could
has a
actually kill himself,
command and
yeah.
stuff.
And I've seen that happen plenty of times, I'm sure.
But not playing Zul'jin means he just dies to Ultimate Infestation.
Well,
Unless
1 in
this
3.
rolls Huffer.
1 in 3.
I might have played Zul'jin there. I don't see why not. Because if you get Huffer, there's a possibility you kill command them and win the game. If not, you can gain 5 armor. You can then most likely summon the wolves.
I agree. I 100% agree. I forgot about the game 5 armor part of Zul'jin, which
I
is
think
really
maybe Magicmike did too.
yeah, you're always thinking about the Zul'jin battle, like the battle cry effect, but I think when we reevaluate this game from an analytical perspective, there was a lot that Magicmike could have chosen differently. But that's all in the history books. Crane takes a game 1 victory. Malygos over the Spell Hunter.
Yeah, it was definitely a really close call. I actually kind of like the
Versus the Spell Hunter. Now, I'm also in agreement with you that Zul'jin was the right play, but you know that's one of the more interesting things about the deck is that it kind of instills some fear into players. They're just like, oh, I'm not sure, or greed. You know, that they want even more spells.
They want that
into the
Rexstar
mix.
hero power too.
It's like not enough, yeah, and then they're just like, not sure, uncertainty. There's just so many emotions that come with this card.
I know, right? That's what Zul'jin aims to do.
Indecision.
Make the player emotional. But another thing is, Magicmike just might have been worried about dying that turn. If he kill commands his own face, he loses the game.
Yeah, but it's also a sequencing thing too. It's like you kill command your own face first because kill command was chosen first. You're still only at 1 health because there's no beast on your board, so you don't get the benefit.
Well,
of it.
actually, I believe do you gain the armor first when you play the card? Is that how it works, or?
Oh, that's a good point.
I'm not actually sure off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Probably have to have
we'll
like Disguised
Toast
get on the case.
I know.
He's really good with like the science of what ends up happening on the stack.
Now this matchup, however, I think is fairly strong for the Shutterwalk Shaman.
Yeah, I don't think Spell Hunter's particularly very good because, or in this matchup, because it's much more of a reactive deck, and Shutterwalk doesn't really present too many threats. Like the power of this deck is often with their Spellstone, but everything building up to it often is surviving and like building up to the Spellstone. So secrets aren't really going to do much to Shutterwalk Shaman.
Not only that, but the Spellstone is easily answerable for the Shutterwalk Shaman in the form of, you know, Electra Lightning Storm, Spell Power Lightning Storm, or just a Volcano. There's so many cards to answer it. I mean, even MC tech, just taking one of the wolves off the board and resetting the board state is good enough a lot of the times.
Yep. It's all true.
And the most Spell Hunter can do is play a 4-mana 3/3.
4-mana 3/3 with, you know, 3 damage battle cry.
That is true.
Still pretty effective.
Oh, trust me, Flank and Strike is a wonderful card. Just not in a matchup where you need to be quite aggressive.
Oh, another Acolyte.
This is one of those matchups where you can also afford Acolyte to draw only one card. A lot of matchups you want Acolyte to draw as much as possible. But I'd say in this one, a lot of times you're fine with it drawing one card. Of course, you want to, you know, maximize it. But just playing it for one draw seems good.
Yeah, I think from this position, but I don't really like any play. I was like looking at his hand and thinking about it. How important is Rock Delar versus having minion presence with To My Side in this matchup, you think?
Well, the way it's panning out right now is To My Side will also come back from Zul'jin. But Rock Delar could just give you enough value to get there, maybe?
Right.
I mean, like, it's like that old question, right? You look at a box. You can either get the To My Side, or you can get the box that may have two To My Sides in it. And what happens if the Rock Delar, you know, generates more value? I mean, maybe it was worth it in the long run, but, you know, it's Schrodinger's box. You never know.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I think that there's a lot of value in just putting pressure on your opponent immediately, too.
That was a weird one.
Yeah.
Especially with the rope burning. I think you would have liked to have a little bit more time to decide that one,
Right.
because all of those had merit.
Yeah, now this is kind of like a punish for not like playing a secret, so to speak. Like, had he picked up something that was affected based off of attacking a minion or a snipe or something like that, it would have been interesting to see how that dynamic played out. But he limited his own options by hero powering first. The hero power is way less consequential than actually developing a secret, in my opinion, to make To My Side even better. And I think that little indecision, you can start seeing it being reflected in Magicmike's expression. You can just see him like constantly rolling his neck, you know, touching his shoulder, just trying to calm himself down a little bit. It happens. I mean,
Oh
we've
yeah,
all
for
been there.
sure. Sitting in that chair is stressful. Dan, I know you've been in that chair a couple times yourself.
A few times myself.
DreamHack
Why do you think
Austin?
I don't anymore?
Why do you think this? Why do you think I'm over here, Dan?
Yeah, DreamHack Austin was pretty fun this year. I ended up having a tied record for top 32, but I didn't have good tiebreakers whatsoever. I was like bottom of the top rated time.
I remember seeing you play, and I was like, oh wow, Dan's repping the flag. And you queued into Muzzy, and then
Yeah, and then you Miracle Rogued me.
I do remember that game.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. Magicmike gonna clear off a little bit of the board, but looks like Shutterwalk Shaman's completely in the driver's seat. Crane picks up Serenite Chain Gang, one of the many important tools in the Shutterwalk Shaman list, and if any of them survive, Grumble can bounce it back.
Yeah, I wonder if this is one of those matchups where you can actually afford to hold the chain gangs for the Grumble,
Grumble
to
guarantee.
maximize.
I think you're not really afraid of their removal tools, especially when they played like the flanking strikes and whatnot early. Magicmike looks so stressed.
I mean,
I'm getting stressed just watching him. And
Dan, you do look a little stressed over there. You right?
No. I have a lot of anxiety right now, just trying to figure out how am I going to escape this game. I'm like role playing as Magicmike right now. I'm trying to think of, trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm trying to think of a way out.
Maybe dancing.
Well, Deathstalker Rexar, that card actually does give you the ability to develop zombies to threaten the Shudderwalk Shaman. So say their ever important card, Shudderwalk, is in the bottom 3 cards of their deck, you can develop zombies to threaten their opponent. And Magicmike's shaking his head because he realizes that based off the sequencing, he can't play Zul'jin unless he's absolutely sure that he does not need another zombie for the rest of the game, which is never going to apply. You will always want a Zombies.
I wonder if it was almost worth it to hold on to it there then. Maybe go for Hunter's Mark on one of the minions. I would say Freezing Trap, but you really don't want to give them another Chain Gang. Maybe you just, you know, Hunter's Mark, kill command one of the minions, and pass. Oh, that feels so bad. Yeah, that turn was, that was hard. That was probably one of the most difficult turns this game. I'm just trying to figure out where you want to go with that, because you're exactly right. Now that Deathstalker Rexar is on the board, you do not want to relinquish this hero power just for a board that Shudderwalk Shaman can clear with 1 card.
Well, meanwhile, I think Crane just trying to figure out what's the best course of action. All of his plays are fairly mediocre. Doesn't even want, you know, any kind of value off the Grumble, just removing every single minion on the board. Could have bounced the Mind Control tech, but feels a little bit over the top. Now let's go back to the drawing board with Magicmike. Let's see what zombies we can get here.
Yeah, definitely think building the zombies first sounds like the play.
Unless...
Okay, I'm listening.
The second secret was just picked up, so he can upgrade his Spellstone twice.
That would require you Freezing Trap a Grumble.
I don't like
That's a no-go, Dan.
I don't like two. Yeah, I don't like 2 of those.
Tundra Rhino. Can't find Stubborn Gastropod.
The important thing with Tundra Rhino is also maybe finding stealth option.
That's fair. Wind Fury. Oh, looks like went for the Snow Flipper Penguin. Doesn't have the mana quite yet. Could also try and set up some secrets to where, you know, maybe he plays the Explosive, eventually he gets to turn 10, and he can go Zombie Spellstone.
Dude, yeah, he has Explosive Trap, and then he can Tundra Rhino, and then all the wolves have charge.
That's some ferocious wolves.
Oof.
It's like
it's
like Unleash the Hounds, but
I like it. Look,
more wolfy.
You gotta take a risk. This is a bad.
I like
matchup.
it too. I like
this is
it
a bad
too.
State. I like taking the risk, and he has the Spellstone and Tundra Rhino wombo combo.
And maybe the Tundra Rhino lives, and he can Zul'jin on the following turn.
Oh yeah.
To really push that damage.
Oh yeah, that sounds great. Zola and Hagatha.
I think Crane's going to be conscious here that one of the secrets could be Rat Trap. So he may not want to necessarily play another card this turn.
Right.
Doesn't really want to proc the secrets either. I mean, if you attack and it's something crazy off of the Wandering Monster, although I don't even know what would be crazy enough.
The Wandering Monster could be like a poisonous minion, like Stonesill Basilisk.
King Mukla would actually be insane
Mukla
as well,
would be
because
good too,
the Explosive Trap would go off and it would clear the Grumble.
Yeah, you're right. And, you know, there's like Emperor Cobra.
Give your Crane here, you just pass.
Yeah, there's no need to hero power in your mind. I guess you could just for the extra defense for the Tonto.
Alright. Unleash.
Unleash the wolves?
The wolves. It's not as cool as the Kraken, but unleash.
Well, your opponent has clearly shown that they don't have, like, you know, anything very significant to follow up on. They did Electra and Farsight, but not really much after. This is the combo.
Wombo combo. Happy Wolves.
Wow.
That ain't Falco. That's Wolf.
Oh, wait, he's going to leave the Grumble. Oh, because the freezing trap, yeah. Wow, he is bold. He saw no Shutterwalk, so he's just going to leave it up.
I don't know how I feel about the trade on the 1-1. I do like the trade on the spell damage totem. I think you have to do that because of Lightning Storm. But I almost don't mind maybe taking a value trade with the Tundra Rhino and pushing the rest.
What about the freezing trap? If he leaves the 1-1 up, the freezing trap gets...
Oh, that's true.
So now does he want to ditch the extra 3-3, or does he want to take the value trade 3-6? They're still outside of range of Lightning Storm, or sorry, Volcano right now. That can easily change.
Yeah, I think maintaining the health on the 3-6 is more important because it does play around things like Hagatha or a high roll Storm. So I think it's better to do that, especially because he was playing with that freezing trap in mind. So the Grumble won't necessarily be allowed to, clear this Tundra Rhino just yet.
Yep, that makes sense.
Could just, get the Grumble back and play a Volcano, though. There are not many board states that you want to clear as Shutterwalk Shaman. The most is Spellstones and then the Spellstones from Zul'jin. And Crane may consider it a pseudo-win if he can actually bait out the Zul'jin.
Sees that as freezing trap and nothing else activates because they are both related to attacking the hero. Are we just going to clear the board? Maybe Earth Shock instead.
Was there a reason Crane tried to attack the 3-6 and not face?
Because if it wasn't freezing trap and it was like some other secret, like snake trap or something.
But then the Hagatha would clear the minions.
Exactly.
That's why I was curious why Crane didn't attack face.
Oh, I think he wanted to attack to account for the possibility of that, though. Like, if it was snake
trap.
You
mean if it was snake trap instead of... Oh, okay. That's fair.
What's funny is that by trying to play around that, he played enough cards to activate
Rat Trap.
Oh, there's only 7 cards in Crane's hand.
Wait.
I'm like, Mukla can put bananas in the hand to burn the Shutterwalk.
Could find Hunting Mastiff, though. Oh, go for the double banana action. The quad bananas.
Yes!
I've seen that before.
But not really.
No. It was just a dream.
It was only just a meme, as Nelly once said. So what is with secret plans and it's more like a secret backup plan for Magicmike. It's just like, all right, I guess I have 1 mana. I have 2 mana left. Oh man, I wanted it so bad to happen, the King Mukla and the Shutterwalk interactions, but seems like Crane has drawn all the pieces. Well, he gets a reroll with the Zola.
Yeah, he does get the Zola reroll.
The whole point of why that card being sheathed is really important. More importantly, these are a lot of Shutterwalks to deal with.
Wait, how much damage does Crane, how much damage does Magicmike have on the follow-up?
Oh, you're right. 7, 9, 14.
What if he just builds a good beast with charge?
Yes.
All he needs is Stone Tusk Boar plus 3 attack. Wait, what is...
His Leok's dead. He didn't attack with Leok. He was hoping for... He was hoping for To My Side to summon lethal.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, but one of the flanking strikes must have hit the Leok.
Yeah. No!
Would that have been... No, that would have been the same damage as the kill command. I think he was hoping for the To My Sides first.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. Because if the Spellstone comes out last and you get 2 Huffers, that would be lethal damage.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it was more likely for that to happen than the Zombeast.
Which one was more likely to happen, the Zombeasts? Or was it the Zul'jin? And I think Zul'jin being hopefully the 1 in 6 or something that rolls out that way, ends up being a better chance of getting a Stone Tusk Boar.
Something like that. The only thing I don't like about, the Zul'jin here is now that these Shutterwalks are left on board, Magicmike is going to know that there is an 8-mana Grumble in hand. So it is guaranteed to get some 1-mana 1s back. I mean...
But he doesn't have Life Drinker in the pool, right?
That is true. There is no Life Drinker in the pool.
However, there are Hagathas.
I mean, maybe also in Magicmike's plan, he wanted to get this hero power enabled. That way he can do the final damage since there is no Life Drink in the pool.
Good point.
How many 3s did that storm hit? It's a good storm.
It was going to be clear no matter what. It was not even 11 mana Shutterwalk. That's actually kind of inconvenient because Crane can't play that Shutterwalk. He might run into hand space issues.
This is going to be a wacky game for sure.
When you start involving like Deathstalker or Exar versus Hagatha, it does tend to get a little bit funky. But now that we have, oh man, it's another rat trap. Now that we have you know, Zul'jin in the mix, that hero power is way outpaced, I think, compared to what Crane has going.
The funny thing is, he could give Crane bananas to mess
burn his
up
Life
his
Drinker.
hand side.
Yeah.
Or burn the Life Drinker.
Burn the Life Drinker. Do it. Do it.
Burn the Drinker.
Squash that bug. No, don't play Spellstone. Play the Mookla. Come on, man.
I mean, he's not monkeying around.
He's gonna draw like.
Oh,
okay, it's just a hex.
So Magicmike had the read that Life Drinker was not going to be drawn for turn, so he can do it next turn.
This guy is locked in. I'm just, you know, that's just because we are casters. We know that it's a very low chance that this is actually happening. We want it for the entertainment of the fans' sake, not necessarily because it's actually the correct play.
We just need to go into, you know, that caster voice of imagine a world where Mookla hits the board.
In a land, in a time.
Dominated by Shutterwalks. So I think it's better to do that, especially because he was playing with that freezing trap in mind. So the Grumble won't necessarily be allowed to, you know, clear this Tundra Rhino just yet.
Yep, that makes sense.
Could just, you know, get the Grumble back and play a Volcano, though. There are not many board states that you want to clear as Shutterwalk Shaman. The most is Spellstones, and then the Spellstones from Zul'jin. And Crane may consider it a pseudo-win if he can actually bait out the Zul'jin.
Sees that it's freezing trap and nothing else activates because they are both related to attacking the hero. Are we just gonna clear the board? Maybe Earth Shock instead.
Was there a reason Crane tried to attack the 3/6 and not face?
Because if it wasn't freezing trap and it was like some other secret, like snake trap or something.
But then the Hagatha would clear the minions.
Exactly.
That's
So
why I was curious why Crane didn't attack face.
Oh, I think you want to attack to account for the possibility of that though, like if it was snake
Oh,
trap.
you mean
one
if
of
it was
them,
snake trap
right,
instead of...
snake trap.
Oh, okay, okay. That's
But
fair.
what's funny is that by trying to play around that, he like played enough cards to activate
Rat Trap.
Oh, there's only 7 cards in Crane's hand.
Wait.
I'm like, Mookla can put bananas in the hand to burn the Shutterwalk.
Could find Hunting Mastiff, though.
Oh,
So go for the double banana action. The quad bananas.
Yes!
I've seen that before.
But not really.
No. It was just a dream.
It was only just a meme, as Nelly once said. What is with secret plans and like... It's more like a secret backup plan for Magicmike. It's just like, all right, I guess I have 1 mana. I have 2 mana left. Oh man, I wanted it so bad to happen, the King Mookla and the Shutterwalk interactions, but seems like Crane has drawn all the pieces. Well, he gets a reroll with the Zola.
Yeah, he does get the Zola reroll.
That's the whole point of why that card being cheap is really important. More importantly, these are a lot of Shutterwalks
Wait,
to
how
deal
much
with.
damage does Crane... how much damage does Magicmike have on the follow-up?
Oh, you're right. 7, 9, 14.
What if he just builds a good beast with charge?
Yes.
All he needs is Stone Test Boar plus 3 attack. Wait, what is...
His
Wait.
Leok's dead. He didn't attack with Leok. He was hoping for he was hoping for to my side to summon lethal.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, but one of the flanking strikes must have hit the Leok.
Yeah. No.
Would that have been? No, that would have been the same damage as the kill command. I think he was hoping for the to my sides first.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Because if the Spellstone comes out last and you get 2 Huffers,
Yeah.
that would be lethal damage.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was more
was
likely for that to happen
exactly. I was
than
gonna wonder
the
as well.
Zombeast.
Which one was more likely to happen, the Zombeasts, or was it the Zul'jin? And I think Zul'jin being like what hopefully the 1 in 6 or something that rolls out that way ends up being better chance of getting like a Stone Dust Spore.
Something like that. The only thing I don't like about, the Zul'jin here is now that these Shutterwalks are left on board, Magicmike is going to know that there is an 8-mana Grumble in hand. So it is guaranteed to get some 1-mana ones back. I mean...
But he doesn't have Life Drinker in the pool, right?
That is true. There is no Life Drinker in the pool.
However, there are Hagathas.
I mean, maybe also in Magicmike's plan, he wanted to get this hero power enabled. That way he can do the final damage since there is no Life Drink in the pool.
Good point.
How many 3s did that storm hit? It's a good storm.
It was going to be clear no matter what. It was done here. 11 mana Shutterwalk. That's actually kind of inconvenient because Crane can't play that Shutterwalk. He might run into hand space issues.
This is going to be a wacky game for sure.
When you start involving like Deathstalker or XR versus Hagatha, it does tend to get a little bit funky. But now that we have, oh my, it's another rat trap. Now that we have Zul'jin in the mix, that hero power is way outpaced, I think, compared to what Crane has going.
I must decide.
The funny thing is, he could give Crane bananas to mess
burn his
up
Life
his
Drinker.
hand side.
Yeah.
Or burn the Life Drinker.
Burn the Life Drinker. Do it. Do it.
Burn the Drinker.
Squash that bug. No, don't play Spellstone. Play the Mookla. Come on, man.
I mean, he's not monkeying around.
He's gonna draw like.
Oh,
Okay, it's just the Hex.
so Magicmike had the read that Life Drinker was not going to be drawn for turn, so he could do it next turn.
This guy is locked in. I'm just, that's just because we are casters. We know that it's a very low chance that this is actually happening. We want it for the entertainment of the fans' sake, not necessarily because it's actually the correct play.
You just need to go into, that caster voice of imagine a world where Mookla hits the board.
In a land, in a time,
Dominated by Shutterwalks.
when there's no hope.
In a post-apocalyptic
One mic.
world with Shutterwalks ruling the land. One Beastmaster. We got the
This
makings
summer.
of a good movie.
Hearthstone has Magicmike.
I must decide.
Is this the making of Magicmike 3?
Oh, unlucky. Loses to 50-50.
He's done with his other job, so he goes to card games.
Yeah. He spread enough love around for all. Enough happiness.
I might need more cards.
Oh no,
Oh,
Magicmike
wow.
might get fatigued. Okay. Well,
There's not enough cards in hand to burn
Yeah.
Life Drinker, though.
is there? There's 9
No,
cards?
it's 9
Yeah,
cards in hand.
Oh, opportunity lost. Now Crane gets Prince Keleseth.
The funniest part about this is Crane's hand is so awkward.
It's
11
awkward.
mana Shutterwalk, 8 mana Grumble.
It's awkward, but it's still doable. You can Keleseth and then Hex the Mookla and then just kind of buff stuff, dump the hand, figure it out, and then play Shutterwalk for 9 mana. But one thing for sure is he definitely needs to make some hand space.
He can double banana the Moogle first before casting the Hex in
that's
order to get
useful.
them out of the hand.
Can even summon the totems.
Well, now with the Totemic Smash, that changes it up.
yeah.
Looks like he just wants to leave a ward there.
Oh, that's useful.
It's a Battle Frog.
I mean, it's like the second best option after Huffer. Add the damage. Go face. Your opponent's ready to use their healing rains with no life drinkers.
I wonder if you just flanking strike your Frog just to get the 3/3 body on the board.
Magicmike's like, whatever, man. It's like, he's like, this damage needs to go face anyways. And
just gonna
Crane
play it.
is on the fatigue plan. He says, I'm just going to clear your board, steal some minions.
Oh, another 9-mana
So
Shutterwalk.
awkward, but it doesn't matter.
He doesn't want to play it out.
Yeah, I mean, he knows what happens. So basically, Crane clears the board for the most part. He has Totemic Smash, and he also has the Mind Control tech all lined up and correct after this round.
Alrighty, Kingsbane Rogue, your favorite, Mr. Dan.
Yeah, I love Kingsbane Rogue. The more I play it, the more I find there's just a lot of nuance to that deck. And it just feels so powerful, you know? It's what a legendary weapon should feel like.
I know, right? It's very reminiscent of when Quest Rogue first came out, and people started making those initial builds and started saying, wow, this deck is absolutely insane. And they just started playing with it more and more and started getting better with it. You know, special pilots came out with it that just kind of, you know, put it over the top. And I think Kingsbane Rogue is going to be that new deck. It is very strong, and it's very, you know, difficult to play at its highest level. But when you do, it may just be one of the best decks in the game.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are a little bit divided over the Year of the Mammoth designs with some of the cards and legendaries because of how powerful they are. They look at Quest, they look at Death Knight hero cards, they look at the legendary weapons like Skull the Mari Twig and all that stuff. But one thing that I feel like they've definitely done is captured the feeling of what they were going for. The Death Knights feel like these crazy, powerful armies rising up from the grave, right? Or rising up essentially from the Ice Crown to try and overtake you and whelm you with power, and this feels like great. The quests create this like, you know, giant objective for you to achieve, and by unlocking some of its power, you get some of the strongest things Hearthstone has to offer. And same thing with the legendary weapons. I just feel like Kingsbane feels so oppressive when it gets started. It just feels like you can't overcome its odds because of how much its advantages keep stacking over time, and because most rogues these days can avoid fatigue scenarios by just simply having Valyria the Hollow duplicate every single thing that you ever play.
And the coolest thing about Kingsbane is, like you were saying with the theme of like the death rising and the completing your quest, Kingsbane is a huge treasure, and you have to go searching through your deck for this one card that is just so powerful that you kind of go on a, you know, journey to find it through your deck. With Raiding Party, you know, you take your party together, you go find this weapon, or Cavern Shiny Finder.
No, it's a really good point. That prep.
That Raiding Party.
That Raiding Party.
Raiding Party is so good, Dan.
It's pretty fantastic, and you know, I was talking about this on Omnistone, I think, where it's like we all knew Raiding Party would be like something that fit into Kingsbane Rogue. We just didn't realize how good the rest of the support cast has gotten at this point. Because Kingsbane Rogue was a thing like in the past meta when like things like Cutthroat Buccaneer and Toxicologist were kind of in the mix. But it wasn't like ever a real threat. But what ends up making it that threat is the consistency of which you can get that weapon. Imagine if you were able to specifically pull out Twig of the Will Tree and Druid on 3. And it'd be like, well, that's just silly. That sounds overpowered. And you're like, well, that's kind of what's happening with Kingsbane, where it's just like you can specifically fish it out, and it's so powerful. And it turns out the pirates that buff it with through weapons. Buff the weapon, excuse me, are a very powerful addition too, like Captain Greenskin and the Buccaneer.
And Raiding Party just gave so much consistency to an already powerful deck. I mean, honestly, if you did not play Pirates in this deck, and it was still draw 2 Pirates, combo draw a weapon, I still think you would play Raiding Party, because getting to your Kingsbane is just that crucial that you don't even mind. I was talking to, I believe, Casey behind the scenes about, you know, he wants to, you know, play the deck in Wild. And I was like, well, do you even play pirates in Wild? Like, do you, like is
Yeah.
Cutthroat Buccaneer even good
I
enough?
bet you could play,
You play like
aggro
Naga
King's Rogue.
Corsair.
Yeah, I bet you could play aggro King's Rogue. Put in patches.
Put in Tinker Oils.
Yeah, Tinker Sharpsword Oils, Naga Corsairs, and then you just top out at like Greenskin. And just go all in.
That thing would be an Arcanate Reaper by like turn 2. With the patches, it's a 4-1. That's
I mean,
insane.
there's even like Buccaneer, right? So Buccaneer, you play the Kingsbane afterwards, and it starts off at 2 attack. And then every time you attach it, it gains buff +1 attack, right, through Buccaneer. Because right now, Wild Odd Rogue plays Buccaneer, so that way when the hero power is a 3/2 weapon, it's a Fire War Axe. It's so insane.
Oh, you're talking about
the one that gives +1
the 1 mana
attack to your
2/1.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Small Time Buccaneer.
No. Well, I mean, you can put that in too.
Why not? Games will probably be over by turn 3 every game.
There are some pretty ridiculously strong cards, or decks rather, in Wild. Both cards and decks. But like, Odd Rogue and Odd Paladin are quite a force to be reckoned with. If you think that they're already very strong in Standard, you know, be prepared
even Shaman
for the
Wild.
even and odd decks in Wild. Even Shaman's pretty nuts.
With Thing from Below's.
Yeah, and Jades.
Oh, and I completely forgot about the Jade synergy.
Yeah,
Because all of them are
Aya,
even.
Jade Spirit, Jade Lightning.
You're taking me back to the good old days, Dan.
My favorite cards. It's like what I do in chat these days. Whenever like chat starts talking about like, oh my gosh, another Odd Warrior mirror. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, I love this deck. It's my favorite deck. Blah blah. Blah. And Jade Idol is my favorite card, and Barnes is like the best design card. And the chat gets really mad at me. Anyways, Crane's just gonna stack this weapon and do exactly what we're talking about, which is hit very hard. And even though Magicmike can Ultimate Infestation, you know, can he handle the onslaught? Because Kingsbane Rogue starts eventually marching towards victory by attacking every single turn. And it kind of feels, you know what it feels like? It kind of feels like a dungeon run boss. Or like a PvE adventure where it's just like the boss, you just start off the turn with like 8 less health every single time. It's like by default, they always just hit you. And you're just like, how do I ever come back from this?
You think
That's
Druid
the
having
power.
10 mana is impressive? But having an 8 attack weapon on turn 3. Show you
Now,
Druid.
it's not determined by any means. I mean, the Druid still has a lot of ability to stay alive, and also with the branching paths, and also has big combo potential now that they picked up Dream Petal Florist. But Magicmike is still a few turns away from that.
Curious if Crane is considering trying to just hard cast this sprint, or if he wants to maybe go for another line of play where maybe he keeps buffing the weapon, gets the leeching poison down. I almost don't mind playing sprint here, but he is staring down quite a bit from the other side if he doesn't, you know, get this leeching poison down quickly. It's a tough call.
Yeah, I like the Leeching Poison. I like the sap.
I like this as well.
The sap makes this ghoul a little bit harder and clogs up the hand.
That's one of the good things about sapping the ghoul, is that it makes it so awkward. And I love Crane's aggression here, especially because Sprint next turn can just draw the weapon. He can play the weapon and do it again. Crane's definitely played some Pirate Warrior in his day.
I think we all have played some Pirate Warrior.
Who hasn't played Pirate Warrior?
Yeah, Magicmike can set up the best defense he can, which is a single Scarab token from Spreading Plague.
I mean, maybe that single Scarab token soaks 9 damage. It's going to have to put in a lot of work here.
Valera the Hollow.
Ooh,
And
Kingsbane!
Bane is back. And now Magicmike
Just
needs a little bit
disrespecting-
more.
Just even disrespecting the Arcane Tyrant. just
Oh, maybe it's punished for that. I wonder how good Alex Straza is in this position with the Spellstone. And you could push 4 extra damage to put your opponent down 11. Now, granted, we know that Crane has the Valera, but in Magicmike's position, that might be his best shot to winning the game. Just like squeezing a little cheese. Like your opponent's so busy being aggressive, you just flips it right back with an Alex Straza play.
I mean, Magicmike's gonna have to go for it. I mean, it's not. I don't know how often that would work out for him, because there's just so many cards that would almost effectively punish that. For instance, Doomerang's a punish to that, Valeer is a punish to that, even Vanish is a punish to that. There's so many
There's so many
cards.
punishes, but
You may have to go
yeah,
for it, though.
I don't know. Like I think this is completely reasonable to want to do because it's not like Kingsbane Rogue has a lot of minions, so Spreading Plague is not exactly great. It also kind of deflects that 9 damage for a turn.
Valeer looks very
Yeah,
appealing
I'm
here.
liking
Just
the
get it
Valeera.
online.
So
Looks like Crane's
wanted-
going for something else. Maybe he
Yeah,
sees
looks
like
like he wants to
potential lethal
draw.
out.
Does he have any single target hard removal right now? He does not.
Can use the Doomerang.
Yeah, Doomerang is nice. I guess that does count as single target removal. Sap is as well, so he has a second copy of Sap.
Crane's just being so aggressive here. I love it. I love to see it because you really want to put Druid on the back foot.
Yeah, you want to basically keep putting the Druid in check.
Making sure they never get to any kind of Malago shenanigans to end the game.
Yep, and even playing the Glutton Zeus for a little bit more board presence. Because Twig of the Wood Tree is not going to even help Magicmike at this point. The game most likely will be determined within the next five turns or so. Face Manipulator, a greed card to help snowball your advantages. Not really going to do anything here.
If only you could face us that weapon.
Faceless to Kingsbane. It's perfect.
We need a 0/1 weapon that says summon a copy of your opponent's weapon.
I mean, there's the Jakari Trickster. Isn't that a card that like takes a random card from your opponent's deck? So that if they're down to fatigue, it's like very hard for them to play Kingsbane to shuffle back into their deck
are you
because
referring to? Yes,
because
is that the 3-mana 3/4?
yeah, it's like it takes a random copy of a card from your opponent's deck. So if there's only one card remaining with Kingsbane, you'll get it and keep the enchantments. However, it was bugged and apparently hotfixed. So now it's like an actual legitimate counter card, a counter tech card to Kingsbane Rogue.
Isn't there also the legendary one, which is the 4-mana 4/5, that says discover a copy of the card, and then you put one in your hand and one in your opponent's hand?
Yes, but I think it's Discover for it now.
Okay.
It's Grifta, and that's more for like anti-Mecha'thun measures as opposed to anti-Kingsbane Rogue. Magicmike can't stick a minion to save his life. Ghoul-Infest or whatever his name is can't really stick on the board, and now Magicmike is staring at death. Spreading Plague looks a lot better now than it did a few turns
Crane
ago.
is just tempoing out Cavern Shiny Finders just to put a 3/1 body on the board to end this game.
Because he doesn't need anything else.
Look at those enchantments, Dan.
Sharpened, Leeching Poison, Sharpened again, Toxic,
Toxic.
Greenskin's Command, Deadly Poison, Toxic. This is a
Toxic's
great
an
summary of the
appropriate
chat right
word.
now.
I know. Deadly Poison. I hate when my chats are Deadly Poison.
And trust me, their words are sharpened. Been sharpened 10 times over. Can this even be lethal if Crane picks up enough buffs? I don't think he actually even has any more buff
I'm
cards.
not sure if there is another buff card. You could banish the Toxicologist and then replay it, but that's only going to add 1 additional damage, so not enough.
Yep. And now Valeera the Hollow comes out, which is important enough just to ensure that Crane can't get into the fatigue scenario. And Magicmike looks like he's done. Ferocious Howls may help him stay alive if he like branching paths. No, UI doesn't do anything. Naturalize is, I guess, okay to just remove power on the board and put your opponent a little bit into fatigue, but it's not going to really matter.
I mean, you technically have to answer this because if you don't, the 2/2 is just going to kill you.
Right, with the weapon.
I don't think there's another weapon buff.
There is not.
I mean, maybe there's a world where Magicmike draws the second branching paths.
Yeah, but Crane's never going to fatigue as long as he plays this correctly, which is to
Yeah, I
attack
was
and
trying
snap
to find the world.
Because what ends up happening is you just make sure you infinite chain the Kingsbanes. And so it comes down to turn timer. Unless Magicmike has card disruption or deck disruption that we're not thinking about.
No, Magicmike's just going to go and give it up.
Nope, he
Cast
spots
the
it.
Ultimate Infestation on himself.
Overkill, very thematic as well. That is going to wrap up the series 3-0.